Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to present our dancers with their interpretation of the nitty-gritty.
Oh, this is like TV. Let me book it. Another detective's gonna sit in here with us while we talk. Oh, okay.
I'm the detective again. Yeah. I don't think we've had her meeting yet.
I don't guess so. Nice to meet you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Detective Sergeant Carla Lucas, and you're Leanna Higginbotham. How do you spell your Leanna-Higginbotham? Oh, okay. Barely got it on my name tag. What's your address? Is that, Cabot. Okay. What's your phone number? Okay. Your date of birth? Okay. We talked to Mike Bailey, and he told us about a couple of incidences with Mike. Now, how do you know Mike? I know Mike through her and her is Heidi Acreage, and her daughter and my daughter, Juanita and Paula, who went to school together. I was in the military, and so was her husband, and so we both were at Southside Elementary when our daughters were, I believe it was the second grade. We're trying to get a timeline on all this because people keep asking me, well, when, but anyway, I met Heidi, and we became friends. The girls were best of friends, growing all the way up, and then... So you're a real close family friend, basically. To the grandmother and to the youngest daughter. Heather was a teenager about this time, so she was in and out of the pictures, sometimes, and so I knew her too, and did you stay at your house a lot? Me, yes, and it was just, like, they had left when Juanita, I think, was right around 12 or 13. Her mom and dad got divorced, and Heidi moved to Connecticut, and Juanita went with her. And I think Heather was still down here. Anyway, so we were friends all up until then, and then they moved away, and we even went up to Connecticut to visit and stuff like that. And then we didn't talk for, 4 or 5 years. You know how that is, long distance and stuff like that. And Kevin, her stepbrother, Heather and Juanita's stepbrother, he passed at COVID, and so when he did, we reached out to the family and, flowers and everything. I mean, I still maintain friendship with David, her ex-husband. my husband and him were both about the same age, so, well, I think he was younger than Paul, but...
Yeah. So did...
It was a new thing for to be at my house.
Oh, okay.
It happened, like, I really didn't know that much. She stayed at her grandma's house almost all the time. And Heidi started coming over to my house a lot. My husband had dementia, and so I was pretty much homebound with him. We kept him at home and did hospice and stuff. And Heidi started coming over, and she had my with her all the time. And we got a swimming pool, and I've always got kids out there. I've got a teenage, they're in college now. The other one's a senior, but, and then I've got two small ones, so there's always kids in and out. If you got a swimming pool, you got kids.
Yeah, you definitely got kids.
And so, they would come over and hang out for a little while.
Well, now, how do you know Mike Bailey?
He's our next door neighbor, and my son could not reach me on the phone one day because I had retired and I was out mowing.
Yeah.
And he brought Bailey to our house, and this is 7 years ago. And how much you gonna charge her to mow the yard? And so he started mowing the yard. And then when my husband got sick. Well, Tim had already moved him in. We used to own it, and then we sold it to my daughter. My daughter sold it to my son. And anyway, so we used to own it, and so, once you own something, it's like it's still my property. It's right there next to me, and I fuss at it all the time. And anyway, so Mike, when Paul started getting sick and... with dementia, they tried to get out of the house, and I couldn't always pick him up to get him places, and in the middle of the night, and so Mike was there for us.
So you guys became friends?
More like family now.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband's brother is autistic, and he's very high-level functioning and everything, and like Mike and his brother are taking him on a cruise next week, so.
Well, we spoke with Mike, and he told us about a couple of incidents with Mike. Do you know anything about anything happening with Mike and
Mike came down to the house the next morning, and he was furious. How did she get my phone number and all that? And I guess I am pretty bad about the phone. I don't drive and text or any of that stuff, and so their kids are in the car. I have Spotify.
Yeah.
They're always playing my music, stuff like that. So my password was out there, and if they were in the car, they would answer any of the messages or anything coming through. And and I'm sure she got the password from that even. Well, I think a couple of times I even asked who was that, I'm picking up kids from school and stuff like that. She wasn't going to school during this time at all. And so she would do that. And so I'm assuming, in fact, when I talked to John Huggins, I believe he was the guy that I talked to the first time, they said that she did get that Fosler's phone number off of there, and so I'm assuming she did Mike's
Bailey's. Well, what did Mike Bailey tell you?
That I was in the house cooking, and my back wall is, I have a big window right there, and I have one of those glass doors that's open right there at the patio, my kitchen space and all this. It's all open area there, and so there's two more windows. So I was in there cooking, and Mike were sitting out there, and I was going back and forth, checking on food and stuff. And I guess at one time I was in there, and she leaned up on him and touched around his area. Well, he didn't come and say anything to me that night. He just got up. Well, I didn't know why he'd left or anything, and I asked her, and she's like, I don't know, he just got up and left, and, something to that, I don't know exact words or anything, but, and then the next day, Mike come down and he said, if she's here, I will never be here, and he told me what happened, and I asked her, and she, I don't even remember the whole conversation, but I was a little aggravated then, and so at that time, I was in the process of getting her picked back up. Her had not come and visited or anything during that time.
How long was she at your house?
Back and forth. I don't know. It was before, I was going to look that up, before Mountain View Iris Festival. I don't remember when that is, but she had already started spending the nights before, because she wanted to go with me, Heidi, and her sisters. And Heidi's like, no, I have her all the time. She can go home. And so Heidi had taken her home for that weekend. So it started right before the Mountain View Iris Festival. And it ended around, and I was just looking on our Blink, and on around May the 19th, and that's because Paula looked that up, because we were having problems setting up the Blink and getting things set right and everything, but right after that, there was another big issue. Had been there, and his friends, and they were swimming, and one of them brought a girlfriend, and the with her, and they were swimming, and one of the girlfriends had lost her phone. And Malachi come and was fussing at her, yelling at her in front of everybody, and I went into the house, and my daughter was there. I mean, she was there, her and the Dinsmores, almost this whole time while this was going on.
I'm sorry.
But that's fine.
Now, when you say back and forth with her man, did you mean back and forth at your place and Heidi's?
Heidi.
With Heidi?
Heidi.
So back and forth with her.
Most of the time. She got sent home on the Iris Festival. But most of the time it was Heidi. Only the last time did Aaron come and pick her up.
Okay. So when Mike came over to you the next day, and he tells you that she leaned up on him close to his area and all that, what'd you say to him?
To him? I said, are you sure? And, I don't remember verbatim.
No, you have no idea, because it was a long time ago.
I don't know. But,
were you surprised, or were you not surprised that she did something like that, or did you believe him, or?
Oh, I believed him. I mean, Mike doesn't lie, so.
Yeah, what else did he tell you?
That he just wasn't going to be there anymore, and he didn't until Gary come down, and he needed Mike to help him with the lawnmower, something about, they were in the process of, Dina was in the process of taking the nursing job in Florida. And so...
did he tell you that she texted him?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And the text.
What did he say about that?
He said she was bored or something, and that I was asleep, and he needed to come back down there because she was bored.
And
he never replied, or he said, and he deleted it. I said, what did you do with it? I want to see I did want to see the message. He said, I deleted it. I don't know. And he was very upset about that.
You think Mike's trustworthy?
Bailey?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know him. That's why you know him better than us, because he did tell us that. She texted him and how she grabbed him around the...
Well, he did this when he showed me, you know, that... So...
And, I just, you know, I gotta know if he's a worthy guy that is gonna tell me the truth.
Absolutely.
And you know him better than anybody. I mean, we don't. We just met him.
With all this stuff going on with my husband and stuff, I mean, I trust him enough that he's taken my debit card and went and got stuff, has gone to the bank and got money and stuff out because I couldn't always do those things. And he takes Jimmy, which Jimmy's been in our possession since, well, I got guardianship, but he's lived with us since our son was 18 months old. So, and Jimmy doesn't go anywhere, but I absolutely trust.
Okay. Now, he talked about a second incident where Gary
Dinsmore,
Dinsmore,
Mike Fosler,
and Mike Fosler, and you were sitting around talking, and
I got stung today.
tell me what that was about. What you know of that?
That was the night that I'm almost positive. You know, I wish now I would have wrote everything down, but I'm almost positive that that was the night. I was so mad that she did that. In fact, I said, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We're sitting at the table with all these men.
So
without a better way of putting this, she just reaches down her shirt, whips out her just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And I don't even remember what all the talking was about. I think the guys were talking about that lawnmower or whatever, but, I mean, she just pulls it out, and look how much sun I got today.
what'd the guys do?
I was focused on her, but Bailey said that Fosler was definitely looking, and I don't even remember Gary's
reaction.
I was horrified. I mean, here is a kid, and
how old was she when she did that?
Because she was turning, and she never had a birthday party, and so I think her birthday was in June, and this was it. And Heidi even texted and said, well, with everything that's happened, I think this was before the are you still going to do her birthday party? And I said, no. I said, no, I can't have her over here. I just can't do it.
This is after she pulled it out.
I have a granddaughter that is 18 years old and applying to Baylor and all this, and we're trying to break generational curses and all this. And no social skills when it comes to people. I don't know if you've with her at all, but
really haven't. But so she just, you guys are sitting around the table talking, and she just walks up.
No, she was sitting there too.
Oh, she was,
and that's something else too. I mean, I have grandkids and daughters, and when I say that, and they have friends over too, and them is over there, which is not really my granddaughter, but she doesn't have a grandmother, so but she's part of the family. She's my and the girl across the street they would go over and swim and stuff like that. She wouldn't, I was like, go get on the cart with them, go ride, go do, go talk. No, not at all. But when it was adults around, she always, I don't know, she felt more comfortable with adults because she
would interact with them more than she would with...
right. And she told me she didn't have any friends. I mean, and how would she? I mean, she doesn't go to school. She doesn't go anywhere.
So when she popped out, she was sitting there prior to that?
Uh-huh.
And
we were just all sitting around the table talking. Malachi, he was there that night. I don't think he was at the table. because it's not that big around. I mean, he was there too, and he had wanted to talk to Uncle Gary, and that's what they called Gary, is uncle.
So you, Michael Fosler, and then Mike Bailey and Gary, and we're all sitting around this table.
Yes.
And she just popped her out and said, I got some sun.
Yes. See how much sun.
Oh, see how much sun.
Do you if it was left or right?
She was sitting across from me, and so it was that one.
Was she looking at you when she did that, or was she looking at one of the guys, or?
I think she was looking at me, but I couldn't swear to that.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's been a while.
Yes.
What was the other girl's name that was there with her?
That's
Okay, and then did they say a word?
didn't, and I don't even know if she noticed it. I mean, look, they're this away all the time on their phone, so I don't even know. I can't remember. Look, that was a shock. I mean, you know.
Imagine. So I want to clarify. She didn't just pull down and see a little bit of her, or was it completely out?
I don't think it was completely out. I think it was the top part. I think that's all it was. But it was still enough that it
Shouldn't have done it.
at all.
Because what Mike's saying is that and said, look at, how do you word it?
Look, I got sun.
Look, I got sun. And
I don't remember if it was the whole
or
yeah. Yes. Whole part of her.
When she did that, did Mike Bailey get up and leave, or?
Yes, I believe he did. I think he did. I mean, I'm almost positive he did. I just know. I think he did. That was a shock. I didn't.
You were shocked.
I didn't know what to do, and I believe her was coming to pick her anyway. And
did you say anything to them about it?
I talked to her about it, and then she said something to Heather about it. And Heather called me, and she was upset.
Did she say if she talked to her, or?
No, she said she didn't want. All I remember on that part of the conversation is that she was mad, and she did not want Timothy to think are bad. Not bad.
Now, Timothy
is my son. He wasn't even around in any of this.
So she was worried that Timothy was going to think that.
Yes. And there was no reason. I mean, he wasn't, yes.
He wasn't even there. Did you say anything to
No.
Was he even in the...
I don't think he, I'm sure that he was not there, because he almost is like a big brother. I mean, he would have...
Yeah, said something.
Yeah, he would have done something, I think.
Did Gary say anything or react that you can remember?
I don't. I do not remember anything. Look, I just remember her doing that, and I believe, I don't remember exactly, but Bailey jumped up, and I was still
Shocked.
I still to this day cannot believe. I mean, even when they talked about her getting, I was like, I just couldn't. I don't know.
Well, how was she? around Fosler?
I didn't even know they even talked. I didn't even know.
Well, I mean, was she ever around when Fosler was there?
3 times.
3 times?
Yes.
When, during those 3 times, did she act, how did she act around him? Was she seem scared of him?
No, just normal. That's what I didn't even realize that she even made contact with him at all. I mean, I didn't see any interaction whatsoever.
Do you know anybody else that done anything like this to, like, grab their upper and their close to their or anything else?
No, because these are the only people that were ever around the house. Dina and Gary were in the process of, and all 3 times that was there, it was because Dina and Gary needed something that he had. One time I've wrapped my porch, back patio with cedar, and Gary was doing a job, and he kept asking me all the questions about it, and I was like, I don't know, Fosler got it at some meal, and, I paid for it, and we put it up, and then he wanted to put his fifth wheel either at Camp Robinson or in the air base. Well, Fosler was also worked in contracting out at Camp Robinson, and so he knew
everybody that he needed.
Yes, and what to do, and so we went driving one day out there and showed him, but she didn't go with us. I mean, she stayed there at the house. And I did, he would be okay with you being here, and I think my daughter was there. And then we went to that, and then the last time, I don't remember why he was there the last time, but Gary was there that night too.
Has Gary ever said that she said anything inappropriate or done anything inappropriate to him?
Gary told us that the night, like him and Dina were staying at my house, while their fifth wheel was getting fixed, or they left it someplace and was getting it fixed, so they were at my house, living there for part of this time, so they were there too. She spent that night there, she was there, and Gary, me and Dina went to bed, and Gary was up in the living room, and I guess she was still up too, and he finally told me and Dina, I had to make her go to bed. I started feeling uncomfortable. And
did he say why he was?
He did not. He's never elaborated on it. In fact, I think he did, because we talked about that, and he's like, no, I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable, and it was past time for her to go to bed anyway. And
how long ago was that conversation?
That was before the Iris Festival, because Dina and Gary were still there.
Where is Gary now?
They're in Florida. She's a traveling nurse, and so she's down in.
Do you happen to have Gary's number?
Yes,
Can I get that from you?
He may have a different story. I don't know, but.
Do you have to have his wife just in case?
Of course, me and her used to be best friends. And when she's up here, we were, but nobody's talking to anybody until this thing's over.
If I could have my number just 2 numbers off or a 1 number off from my husband, I would remember it.
Have you had any, since this whole situation's arrived last year in October, have you had any outreach with the Spencers, anything like that? Conversations or anything back to your home or anything?
No, from that night that all that stuff happened, I was like, no, you're out of here. And no, Juanita texted my daughter, Paula, and said that Heather was being a bully. She has the text, so this is just, and we can't talk right now. And Juanita was having her second child, too, so I'm assuming they've had the baby. But, they unfriended all of us and everything. So, no. Aaron and Heather, I went to pick up lunch for my oldest granddaughter, and it was in Nauru's. And when they called my name out, she asked me my name, and I said my name, and they were sitting over there. And I glanced over because somebody was like, she didn't move. I mean, she was just like stock still. And I'm like, we're going to see each other. This is a small town.
Are they blaming you?
Yes. It was my boyfriend that did this, and he was not my boyfriend. We worked together. But she said the same thing about Bailey, that we were boyfriend and girlfriend. Evidently, you cannot be friends with the opposite sex without it being. Yeah. And I get that, she's a kid, and so she doesn't understand relationships. She doesn't interact with anybody, so she doesn't know. What else was I going to say about that? I don't know. No. She did want me and Dina to take her to Texas. She found out that Dina's oldest daughter, Gina, all these girls went to school together with my daughter. And later on, they all carpooled together with Dina and my husband. Yeah. She'd take them to school. My husband would pick them up from school. Yeah. God forbid kids ride the school bus, right? But that's the way it was. And Dina and I were talking about Gina, and she understood that Gina was down in Texas, and she's like, I want to go to Texas. Will you take me to Texas? And I'm like, first of all, you don't take kids across any state line. And it's like, no. And she's like, well, I guess he got into an argument with one of his parents, and so he got sent to the other. And I never did find out what the age of this guy is. And now that, this other guy shows up too, I even wonder if she was still texting him on the phones or not. And she stayed on her phone the whole time. And I said, you don't have any friends that are always texting or whatever. And, and...
Do you remember what kind of phone it was? What kind of phone it had?
No, because I just barely...
What about, do you remember the color of it by chance? It was just a black one, a purple one, a pink one, a white one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Was there any time that and her talked about what kind of person he is?
I just heard that, Malachi asked he wanted to talk to Uncle Gary. Could I call Uncle Gary and see if he would meet over there? And that night, he said something about, this is not exact wording, but the man you see during the day is not the man we see at night.
And he was talking about his dad.
Yes.
What has said? Am I saying her name wrong?
Yes.
Yes. Why am I...
Malachi.
Yeah, I know. I do the same thing. home. I mean, that says a lot right there, right?
Has she ever said that, has she ever said that he was abusive to him? Verbally or physically or?
No, but we go back to the swimming part of this, and she always wore either the leggings, she had one or two pair of those, and pajama bottoms. And call me old-fashioned, but when I see people walking around in pajamas,
Same way, I promise.
it kills me. And so I was like, look, I use some shorts, whatever you need. And like, well, I can't wear shorts. And I said, what do you mean you can't wear shorts? And like, won't let me wear shorts. And I said, we're in the South. It is hot. I can't wear shorts. And then again, I said something about swim. If you need a swimsuit, we'll go get you one. Marshall, you can get whatever you want, And it come up that she wasn't supposed to wear those because it may, or was told, I don't know how it was worded, but it could cause her to have inappropriate thoughts. And I said, girl, if that causes inappropriate, you got other problems than that, And she, I don't know, she wasn't a real chatty person in the first place. She was nice, kind, and always wanted to help and everything, but she didn't know how, and she sat on the phone and sat in the house most of the time, or she was in and out of the swimming pool, but she did start. I don't remember shorts, but got a bathing suit, and I'm thinking that I got her a couple pair of shorts and stuff for her.
So she, not but basically said that it could give inappropriate thoughts. That's basically what she said. Not in those words.
Pretty close.
Okay. Has she ever told you that anybody else has heard? Trying to make sure
I know. We've thought these questions throughout. It's like, especially now that we know that there's another person coming in on this, and who else?
What do you mean another person coming in on this? You're talking about?
Ohio, 25-year-old.
How'd you find out that was about him?
Well, it doesn't take a rocket science, does it? At the same time, bring him back to Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if someone called you that maybe knew about that one, or not off the news. I'm talking about
because of her, we'll never release the name on that.
Yeah, right.
So
I know.
Make sure we don't have.
No,
they're telling about
I just pretty much assumed because if that was with Fosler, I think she was trying to, I don't even know how to say it, but the same thing to happen with Bailey, and Bailey's like, no way.
Does this whole situation, though, with everything combined with her, is it surprising to you in the overall aspect of what's been discovered so far and what you know? Is it surprising?
No.
Even if I take Fosler out of the whole equation, what stands out the most on you with this as far as the reason why it's not surprising to you?
Because she wanted to get away. Me and Dina talked about that, and we talked about, well, even if you thought you could go to Texas and live, how are you going to make a living? And then she comes up with the interior design, I'm real good at stuff like that, and I'm like, You have to go to school. You have to have skills. Nobody's going to give a kid that money. You have to go out and purchase stuff and show stuff and try to explain it. And then she changed it to, well, you know, I want a lifestyle like, you know, just living off the land and doing that and having babies and stuff like that. And I'm like, how are you going to make a living? You have to have some kind of income for electricity, foods, and stuff like. Not everything is. How do you do this? And I don't know. It just didn't seem to sink in. I mean, as a child, but really and truly, if she could get to Texas for whoever this person was, this guy, that everything and. Dina and I both tried to explain that's not what's going to happen. And if you had a child, I mean, that's two more lives that are going to be absolutely ruined. I used to volunteer for Vicki Parker and, you know, trying to talk to these and stuff like that.
So the reason why she wanted to go to Texas was over some guy?
Yes.
Did she ever mention his name?
No, or age, you know. I mean, at that time, I was just thinking, you know, oh, okay, here's, in my mind, that's what I was thinking, you know.
Yeah. No one thinks of someone older, you know, at that.
Did her anything? Hardly talked at all the whole time.
I think she pretty much covered everything I did.
All right, well, everything I said is how I seen and how I perceived. I mean, I don't have dates and times on everything. And
it's been a while, so I get that. If I have any other questions, or if I call,
I'll be here.
Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in. I really do.
I want her to get help. I want her. This is going to be the rest. You don't get to take back. There is no take backs for this for the rest of her life. So how do we change the psychic on this now?
Initially with Fosler, how'd you find out?
Aaron came to my door on a Sunday morning, and I had COVID. I just tested and it talked to my daughter and said, hey, because I babysitted, and I had during all this time, too. And at that time, they lived in their own house just 5 miles away. And her and I were talking, and I hung up, and there was a knock at the door. Nobody knocks at my door. It's always open. Everybody knows and comes and goes. And so I get up, and I was like, he's like, can I come in? And I was like, yeah, but I just tested positive for COVID. Well, they don't believe, they're non-vaccinators. They don't believe in COVID in the first place and all that. And so he came in, and he told me, he said, I need your boyfriend's address. And I said, well, I don't have a boyfriend. Who are you talking about? And he said, Mike. And I was like, Bailey? He lives right there. No, the other one. And I still didn't put it together. And I finally said, Fosler? And he's like, yeah. He just my first reaction is there's no way. And first of all, I never saw him interacting, nothing. And with everything else that was going on, I was surprised after I found out that all this was going on, that Fosler really and truly did it. Still had a phone to contact him again. But anyway, then he wanted his address, and I said, well, I don't have his address. I mean, he lives someplace over there on the Walmart, but it's on the other side. I didn't know where he lived, and so I gave him the phone number.
Yeah.
And
were you the one that called the cops, or
my daughter?
Your daughter?
Yeah.
Did he say anything about not calling the cops, or what
Well,
did he say?
and we're still talking about that, but as far as I remember, it was like, just don't call anybody. Don't, Leanna, all I'm asking you is don't call anybody. And then I believe he said don't call the cops or anything. Well, I was thinking that, Fosler, I need to call him because, I mean, what would you think somebody's going to do?
Yeah.
That. So I called my doctor. Well, first I called him back, after he left. I just kept thinking about it. I was like, if he gets a hold of him, I'm going to be, I can't live with that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. And so I called my daughter and said, hey, I need you to come over. And I didn't want to tell her what was going on.
Yeah.
And so she comes over and I tell her what Aaron was doing and everything. And so we called, I said, I want to call the police. And so I was upset, of course. And I called Aaron, and he wouldn't answer the phone. So I called Heather. And she's like, I cannot tell my husband what to do. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then she said, look, it's all in God's hands now. Just leave it alone. It's all in God's hands. And I don't think God does miracles, but he expects us to do something too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a freebie. You got to get up and do something. And she said, fuck you, and hung up on me. And so that's when I called Paula, and I was like, look, I don't know what's going on, but I got to call the police. I need you to come over here. And so she came over, and she called, and we got the information. They come out, and we talked to them on the phone, and, I mean, on the front porch, because I had COVID and everything, and so...
Yeah. Did he say anything about killing him?
He did not, but, and people asked, was he angry or anything, but, like, he's always a stoic person.
Yeah.
You don't know what his moods are.
Yeah.
So, and when I say that, I haven't been around him that much,
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
Just from what you have been. He's like...
Yes, but it hadn't been that many times that I've been around him.
But, well, after you left, did he call you back or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
No. Did Heather?
No. That was the end of all communications at that time.
Is there anything you think we need to know? Now that we're sitting here talking.
I don't know. I worry about her, what's going to happen with her, and how she's going to survive all this. And that was I believe I said that even to the police. I know me and my daughter talked about it. That's two lives that she's going to need her going through this.
Did she say if she was close to her?
From all the feelings I got, not.
Well, if I have any other questions, sir, if I call. Thank you. And I appreciate you coming in.
We do not need vigilantes out in this world. Who's next? Somebody's tempering and everybody's going off.
No, we don't. Because...
I believe in the system. I fought for the system.
But, well, I appreciate you coming up. I'll walk you out.
All right. So this is a scary